You're listening to Signal 20, a broadcast of the strange, the unexplainable, and the shadows that don't stay still. Tonight's transmission is called The Lantern Man. The woods are full of stories, tales of lights that sway between trees where no road runs, too steady to be fire, too faithful to be chance. Locals say if you see it, you'll feel the pull, and if you follow, you may never walk back the same. It started with a faint light swaying between trees no one ever walked. Locals said it wasn't fire, and it wasn't a lost camper. It was steady, too steady, as though something was out there, drawing attention to itself. Hikers claimed if you stepped off the trail to chase it, you'd never see daylight the same way again. Some never returned at all. One man believed he would resist what others feared. To him, it seemed harmless, nothing more than a glow in the distance. But what began as curiosity soon blurred into fixation, and that was where the forest waited. He came for quiet. That was the reason he left the city, left behind the noise of cars and voices that never softened. A cabin deep among the pines offered what he wanted. No neighbors, no roads, only the sounds the woods decided to give. At first, it felt like peace. The creek spoke low. The wind marked its path through the branches. In the daylight, that was enough. But when night came, the silence did not comfort. It pressed closer. It reminded him that quiet still holds sound, sharper, harder to dismiss. The forest never stopped speaking. Cracks rose from places just out of view, wood shifted and groaned above, and small feet scurried across dry leaves that stretched the darkness farther. Sitting on the porch, he noticed how even an owl's call carried strange weight. It was distant, but it always reached too near, as if perched beside him, unseen in the limbs. He had chosen life away from people, yet the forest reminded him, constantly, that he was not the only thing awake. Over time, solitude rewired him. With no human noise to blur the edges, every detail pulled sharper. Pine after dusk smelled thicker. Bark scraped louder when the wind leaned against a tree. He found himself lingering on the porch longer than he meant, caught listening for what shifted in the dark. That was when he learned. Silence does not soften the world. It brings it nearer. Most who take to wild places know what happens when daylight fades. The mind measures every shadow twice, asks if a break in leaves was only wind or something heavier. He felt it too, but what returned most often was not a sound at all. It was light. A pale thread through the trees, always in the same place and always steady. At first, he told himself it was ordinary. Someone else might be camping beyond view. A lantern hung outside a tent, maybe a hiker passing with it in hand. The forest drew travelers. Lights were normal. Except this one did not wander. It did not lean with the wind, flare up, or dim down as fire does. It did not cross the trees like a man walking. It simply held its position. A star too low and too fixed to belong above. He began to keep track without meaning to. Each night he marked when it showed, how far through the timber it seemed, how long before it left. It never failed him. Always there, always the same. It glowed just enough to draw his attention, never enough to reveal itself. But more than the glow itself, what gave him pause was its patience. Fire dies. People pack up and move. This glow did neither. His thoughts circled it with greater speed. If not flame, if not another traveler, then what? He started losing time without knowing. A meal cooled on the counter while his eyes fixed on that narrow opening between trunks. Hours slipped as he sat unmoving, waiting for the pale point to return. A light that regular should have calmed. Regularity often does, but its refusal to budge worked the other way. The more it stayed, the more it stripped away his excuses. What he asked of the woods was stillness. What it gave back was something colder. It slid into the gaps he had reserved for peace. Even in daylight, when no glow burned, his mind returned to it. He told himself not to think on it, but the forest carried memory, and his own thoughts kept circling back. Soon he stopped watching by accident. He looked for it on purpose, and every time, the glow was waiting, motionless between the trees. The longer he lived with the glow, the harder it was to dismiss. What returned to him most clearly were the words he had once overheard in town. Hushed talk of a faint light between trees where no trail ran. The locals never spoke of it with ease. Their voices had carried the unease of people who knew but did not want to say, as if naming it might invite it closer. At the time, he thought it was nothing more than a hunter's tale. Now, their restraint made sense. Whisper becomes warning when the same light returns night after night. It was always in the same place, lined up with the same break in the branches no matter where he stood. At first, he checked for it without thought. A glance before bed, a step outside with the lantern in hand. Yet the pattern deepened. Soon he was fixed on the clockwork of its reappearance, watching for the exact moment it climbed from the dark as though the forest itself had scheduled it. The excuses never held long. Fire flickers, stars shift, people move. This glow stayed. Still, he tried to reason with himself. Perhaps tired eyes, perhaps nerves stretched thin by silence. He almost convinced himself once, even laughed at the idea of chasing shapes drawn from shadows. But the laughter echoed flat and fell away quickly. Records began to appear on his pages, marks in the margins of a book he no longer read, one line for when it showed, another for when it dimmed. He knew the notes solved nothing, yet he made them all the same. Each one confirmed a rhythm that no natural thing obeyed. That rhythm hardened into habit. Each dusk, he expected it. Each night, he counted on seeing it. The glow wound around him like a vine, less a light than a structure creeping into his hours until it shaped the way he moved. What once had been simple curiosity now dictated his time. He found his evenings rearranged, not by choice, but by compulsion. Sleep thinned. Even when he lay down, his body remained angled toward the window, listening, waiting. Meals sat cold, forgotten. The forest filled every hour in his cabin, but not with the peace he had wanted. It was narrowed to a single point of patience burning steadily through the timber. The strangest part was how natural that pull began to feel. He no longer debated over what he saw. Doubts, jokes, even self-reproach fell away. The need rose sharper than wonder. If something could hold still in a world where nothing else did, then it asked to be answered. Nights passed, each heavier than the last, pressing him toward the same thought. He could not learn more from a distance. The line was crossed quietly. He stopped wondering if he might go to it. The thought settled instead on when. After that, the decision was no longer if, but when. Evenings became tests of will. He stood at the edge of the porch and told himself he would take only a step, only enough to prove what it was. Each night he delayed, yet the pressure tightened. It stirred slow, like heat gathering in coals, quiet until it would no longer be contained. When it came, the change felt less like a choice than the breaking of a restraint. The glow returned to its patient place, and the forest framed it in silence. He stepped forward, away from the cabin, into the waiting line of trees. What happened next was not a crossing of distance, but the beginning of something else. The moment his foot broke the edge of the clearing, the world behind him no longer felt present at all. It happened like this. He stepped from the cleared ground in a single stride, and at once the forest changed. The spaces between trunks closed in. Roots crossed his path like bars. The ground pitched and dipped without pattern. What had been open and still only moments before now pressed narrow around him. The light did not rush to escape. That was what struck him. Its calm, unhurried presence waiting ahead, neither near nor gone. He thought he could catch it quickly, yet the space stretched, an endless line that bent the further he walked. Each step told him the forest was reshaping to draw him deeper. Branches lowered. Burrs caught at his sleeves. His boots sank in soft ground. The air around him carried no wing, no crack of animal, no stir of wind. It was the silence of something aware, the kind that marked not emptiness but regard. The glow shifted only in answer to him. When he moved, it held steady. When he slowed, it slackened to match the pause. Sometimes it lingered as though proving it had time to wait. That patience carried edge. The idea that the light might want anything at all cut sharper than distance could. The climb worsened. A hill he thought shallow rose steep halfway up. A hollow he judged short drew longer the further he walked. Nothing matched its shape until he reached the middle, and by then the path behind was gone. The forest steered him, not by choice but by refusal. No way forward but the line the glow left open. He tried to mark progress by counting. A breath for each step, a rhythm to prove the ground was steady, but the count slipped. Pace lost order. He glanced at his arm wiping sweat and saw how shadows bent against his skin. The trees did not stand as before. Each time the glow leaned, the lines around him redrew, as if it did not shine on wood so much as move it. Then came the fracture, not loud, not wild, but exact. A crack from brush that split clean and stopped at once. He froze where he stood. It was no random fall, no running animal, too sharp, too clipped. Another followed, close enough to fold into breath. He was not the only one moving. His chest gave short, broken pulls he could not smooth. The light allowed no answer. It gave no form, only direction, guiding instead of fleeing, keeping him within reach but never offering approach. The woods had ceased to be ground and became barricade. He was not tracing through them. He was held inside them. Still he fixed his eyes forward, convinced the next shift would show what he chased. And then it failed him. Not dimming, not receding, but gone. It snapped out in a single cut, as if seized and clenched shut. The dark was complete, every trace of safety gone in one beat. The forest held its silence, and in that silence lay the certainty of something present, waiting just beyond the reach of sight. It happened like this. The lantern did not dim or soften. It snapped shut, sudden and final, like a switch thrown or a hand crushing the flame. One moment it lit the path ahead. The next it was gone, leaving only a wall of black. There was no fading to prepare his eyes. The change was blunt, striking, a darkness that pressed until it felt like weight. He searched for outlines, a ridge of tree, the thin cut of sky. Nothing. The canopy smothered the stars. The moon lay absent. Trails he trusted had dissolved into the void. The dark closed tight, so complete he could not see his own hands. The air itself seemed thick, as if his body stood submerged in night instead of drawing breath. What rose to fill the space was himself. His heartbeat came first. Hard. Too hard. Each thud struck in his ears like a second set of footsteps. Then breath followed. Harsh, uneven. He tried to steady it and failed. The effort only made it louder. Sweat cooled on his neck with the sense that every draw of air betrayed him. He was not hiding his presence. He was declaring it. Folklore often ties such lights to sudden absence, sound, distance, even the living pulse of the woods folding out all at once. That was what settled over him now. The low creak he had heard before was gone. No leaves moved, no insects whined. The empty space forced all attention to the only noise that seemed to remain, his breathing. And then, another. Behind him, slow, measured, inhale drawn too long, exhale pressed too heavy. It was deliberate, close enough to be touched. His chest locked. He stood rigid, afraid any motion might bring it nearer, but staying still did nothing to end it. The sound unrolled and curled at his ear. Not error, not accident. A shape hidden by dark, proving its presence with every breath. Air shifted against his skin. The weight of another life settled within reach, though unseen. Time stretched. He no longer counted seconds. He counted inhalations that did not belong to him. Each one erased the thought of escape. His sense of the world bent beneath it. Like reaching for a railing that was not there, the trust he had in the rules of forest and night slid away. Light had betrayed order. Sound had gone with it. And what stood with him now was certain proof of intent, without giving a face, without giving a name. Memory surfaced sharp. The phrases he had treated as rumor in town returned, changed by the moment. The glow does not guide. It does not lead. It takes. Those words echoed now, not as story but as explanation for the switch and the black that closed around him. Heartbeat and breath marked time together. No answer came, no riddle, no bargain. Only the pulling truth that he had been drawn because he could be. What waited here needed nothing else. The silence pressed deeper. He reached the thought that the choice was gone the moment he stepped forward. He had not been invited for discovery. He had been marked for possession. Curiosity had no hold anymore. The lure had done its work. What lived behind was not sighted, yet it needed none. Its breath proved it. Its patience proved it. He understood then that whether spirit, shadow, or simple consequence of being alone too long, the glow did not bring enlightenment. It brought separation. And in the dark where light had fled, that separation felt final. It was the kind that stripped him from the world he had belonged to. Whether by legend or his own unquiet mind, he could not yet know. People still debate what the light means, but the stories never agree. Some speak of a lost figure caught between worlds, burdened with a glow that is not gift but anchor. They say the lantern holds what remains of him, and drawing someone else near might release that weight. In this telling, the glow pleads for escape, though the cost for those who answer is the same. Once the light is followed, the forest does not return them. Others say that tale is too soft. They claim the glow is not bound to a man at all. It belongs to the woods themselves, a fragment of something ancient that lures wanderers into ground that will not give them back. It does not chase. It does not strike. It waits, patient as stone, until the wrong step carries the traveler far enough for the trees to enclose them. A third thought denies spirits altogether. It says the light is nothing but the sum of silence, repetition, and solitude. Alone, the mind begins to shape patterns where none exist. A shine through branches becomes something more, an invitation, a test, a demand. Once belief forms, the body obeys. Each step forward feels chosen, though it is conviction doing the leading. Belief wraps around a person like a rope and pulls them farther than they meant to go. Each version speaks differently, yet they circle the same fear, that something will divide a person from the world they once knew. Whether the glow is a lost man, the forest's own hand, or only the mind tightening around its own invention, the end remains isolation. Not death named outright, but absence, a vanishing marked by no return. Folklore in many cultures tells of these wandering lights. They carry different names in swamps, over dunes, and beneath cliffs. A pale flame hovers, a candle flickers across water, a spark rises where no fire burns. Each story explains them in its own way. Ghosts, omens, tricksters, but the shape repeats. Someone sees a light at a distance. They follow. Safe paths fall away. The consistency unsettles even those who resist superstition. Questioners who laugh in bright daylight rarely sound the same when the branches close overhead. In the dark, reason softens. Shadows seem to shift on their own. Sound does not carry back. Solitude leaves people weighed against what they once dismissed. The forest does not argue. It only forces the choice. Believe or not, step forward or stay. That is why the question of truth no longer matters. Legend and invention lead to the same edge. What grips is not the presence of a figure, but the mind's surrender to it. Conviction gives it form, and form directs the body onward. In the space between doubt and certainty, the glow takes hold, whether it exists outside the eye or only within it. And so, the telling never resolves. No voice has returned to say what waits past the final step. What remains is a silence that people fill with either spirits or psychology. Both paths leave the same trace. The story does not end with the light itself, but with what stirs in those who cannot look away. The story makes clear the real danger was never the glow itself, but the pull it created. It did not strike or chase. It only waited, steady, until curiosity overcame caution. What drew people closer was their own need to understand, and once the step was taken, the forest closed behind. Some say the lantern man lingers as a ghost. Others call it a spirit. Still others claim the mind invents what the silence demands. Whatever the cause, tales continue to pass through town. And in the trees, a faint light sways between trunks, still steady, still waiting. This has been Signal 20, tonight's case, The Lantern Man, a story of a glow that waited, silent, patient, until curiosity became stronger than fear. Some call it spirit. Some say it's the forest itself. Others believe it's only the mind, inventing what silence demands. But the end is always the same. The path back closes, and the light is never yours to keep. If you ever see a faint glow swaying between the trees, steady as a star that doesn't belong, remember the warning. The lantern man does not guide, it waits, and once you step toward it, the forest may not return you. Stay sharp, stay safe, and until next time, this is Signal 20.